Hello everybody, this is Týrcast number 6. We are a heavy metal band. I am the singer and guitar player of this very famous heavy metal band. My name is Heri and I live in Prague, in Czechia.
Gunnar Thompson, bass player in this band. I live in the Faroe Islands.
And I'm Ted Rickman. I am the drummer and I live in Budapest, Hungary.
Hello gentlemen. I
Hello.
believe we have met before.
Oh,
You seem rather familiar, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Thank you.
kind of
I
famous,
have
aren't
that
you?
everywhere face. We put out episodes on the 7th and 22nd of each month at 1700 hours Central European Time. But on the 31st of December, we will put out a special end of the year episode. You said but. However, on the 31st of December, we will put out a special year roundup episode. This was a very slow year, at least as far as touring and concerts go, so it'll be a short one. We would like you to subscribe to our channel and like this video, share it with all your heavy metal friends, and hit the notification bell here on YouTube so that YouTube lets you know when we upload new material. You can support us on patreon.com/Týrband, and our heartfelt heathen thanks to anyone who already supports us there. Now that the introductions and formalities are out of the way, trying to think up an incredible segue into this complicated and funny subject we have lined up for today.
What was that?
So we were just talking before we started this about Tolkien, for example. Very interesting subjects, especially for fans of Blind Guardian and other bands. Now, for example, something jumps to mind. There's also the more recently the Song of Ice and Fire and the Game of Thrones series. And there's a band in America, one of the band members of which we know, and it's called Seven Kingdoms. And I believe they base all of their music on the Song of Ice and Fire series.
Oh, that's where the name comes from.
I believe so, yes.
Oh, now I
What's the guy's name?
understand their
He was
mythology.
He was the tour manager of Orphan Land.
Yeah,
What's his name again?
I know.
Oh, he'll never forgive me for forgetting. I see him on Facebook every day. What's his name again?
Why do you bring us in such a situation, man?
It just jumped to mind right now. Seriously.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I see his guitar right in front of me. It looks like a dirt bike style guitar.
Very muscular guy, Gunnar. He worked out a lot recently. Remember?
Yeah, I know who it is, but the name's gone. God damn it!
God. Oh.
Sorry.
Why do you? If you're watching this, why do you have to have such a forgettable name? Couldn't you be called something memorable?
Guitarist of Seven Kingdoms.
Camden,
of course.
There, I'm sorry,
Holy-
Camden. How could I possibly forget?
Sorry about that.
Han.
Yeah.
Camden
We
Cruise?
will be demonetized in Sweden if you repeat that.
Sorry. I thought that was Norwegian. Was it not?
Both.
Both. Okay.
I
You
believe.
see? Thank you, Duolingo. No, that's not from Duolingo.
How's the challenge coming?
No.
What's the streak?
That's a later topic. Let's stick to
Fair enough.
the books and the music.
Yes.
Actually,
the more we change topics, the more segues we have to find, and the more silly we look.
and the more we just lose track of everything. I mean, just look
True,
at Gunnar.
true.
He already lost track, right? No. So. So we were talking about Tolkien and his novels. Yes. And I have to say, the Silmarillion, I did not know before I encountered Blind Guardian. And that was Nightfall in Middle-earth, I think, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
true.
That was one of my very absolute favorite albums. That and Somewhere Far Beyond. I told that Hansi Kirsch after our joint tour, after a couple of beers, and I told him, I just love those albums. He was touched, but maybe he was just polite, you know. No, he's a very nice and very polite guy. So thanks again, Hansi, for listening to me rummaging around about Tolkien and Blind Guardian. And regarding this topic, I thought about other books or literary works which come back in any kind of metal music. And for example, there's the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. That, of course, you do know, Gunnar, right?
I know the song, yes.
Yes,
I like
Iron
it.
Maiden.
I like the song.
Yeah, I love it as well. I mean, Power Slave is, for me, it's one of the best Iron Maiden albums. I think so. And that was actually the reason why I got into Samuel Taylor Coleridge as well. I mean, the first time I listened to that song, I was 15 or 16, maybe. And there is, you know, that middle part where everything got very, very creepy and very dark, and you hear that raspy voice, and he's reciting "One after one by the star-dotted moon, too quick for groan or sigh," and so on and so on. And I was very hooked on that. And was
Do it again.
No. Each turned his face with a ghastly pang and cursed me with his eyes. 4 times 50 living men, and I heard no sigh, no groan. With heavy thump, a lifeless lump, they dropped down one by one. There you go. Yeah, so anyway, and I thought, wow, this is actually really creepy and really nice. And so I looked into it, and so I encountered the name Coleridge. And as I said, I was 15 or 16, and I bought some books from Coleridge. Actually, not only poems, but also philosophical books. And I did not understand a word. So thanks, Iron Maiden, for that. And another Maiden song, The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. That's actually a short, well, no, not a short story. It's a novel by, what's his name? Silito? Alan Silito, I think. Yeah. I did not know that was a book in the first place either. So yeah, people, listen to heavy metal and you'll be educated in literature as well.
That is very interesting. I knew of Tolkien before I heard of Blind Guardian, but I think I'd only heard about The Hobbit. I hadn't read it, I hadn't been told it or anything. When I first started listening to Blind Guardian, my brother showed me, my little brother, and the first album I heard must have been Nightfall in Middle-earth, and I thought it was absolutely captivating. I was hooked on it immediately. And then I started looking into The Lord of the Rings and found out more about Tolkien, and especially Silmarillion. And so if it weren't for that, I probably would never have looked it up. Another thing that jumps to mind is Iron Maiden's Alexander the Great. It's just a main outline of the life of Alexander the Great. And after you listen to an album like that, which is, in my opinion, one of the best Iron Maiden albums, Somewhere in Time, you kind of memorize it. And if you need a detail about Alexander the Great, it's there in your mind. You know when he was born, where he was born, what he did, where he died, and so on and so forth. Of course, the true story, the story we have is much more complicated and detailed. But as for memorizing some historic details, that goes some way, and that's pretty interesting.
The Battle of Troy by. No, that's not the. What's the whole title of that Manowar song? It's about 28 minutes. It's on the first song on the Triumph of Steel. It's about the Battle of Troy, and that's quite Doesn't ring a bell. You don't know?
No, actually, I only got into Manowar by Warriors of the World. I heard occasional songs before that, but Warriors of the World was the big album.
Gunnar? Do you know that album? The album? The Triumph of Steel? Manowar, do you know it?
Triumph of Steel. Oh, I don't remember the title of their albums. There's one I really like, but I think it's Warriors of the World or something like that.
Yeah, interesting. I mean,
that
was. I mean, for me, that was. I was kind of underwhelmed by that album, but the earlier ones like Hail to England and the Triumph of Steel, and Battle Hymn, those were my favorites, I think. Yeah.
I know there are older songs by Manowar I like, but I haven't sat down and listened to the entire albums and really got into it. The first time I did that with Manowar was Warriors of the World, and the one that came after, Gods of War. I didn't get very much into that. So I'm kind of stuck there, and there's no, so far as I know, no historic details on the Warriors of the World album.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. But I was thinking if there comes to mind anything else from literature, like.
I can't think of anything. I know Iron Maiden made a lot of lyrics based on movies. Those books you mentioned, I actually wasn't aware of that. I knew the Rime of the Ancient Mariner was based on a story. I didn't know who'd written it. I didn't know anything about the loneliness of the long distance runner. I'm sure they have more. Lyrics that are based on stories.
Oh, and there's
Where Eagles Dares. That's a movie.
That's a movie, probably a book before that. Is it?
Most likely, I don't know.
Okay.
I guess.
The movie is, it's called Where Eagles Dare, and it's starring Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, it's quite good, actually.
I think it's an English movie.
Okay, I haven't
It's
seen
a very nice movie.
But it's quite good. It's quite good, from the Second World War.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Bruce Dickinson is a quite big World War II buff.
But the song is so much better.
Or, for example,
the song is incredible.
For example, what's his name? I think the English title is Downfall. No, Falling Down. Falling Down. Michael Douglas movie.
Yeah.
The guy who wants to go home and goes berserk in Los Angeles, is it? Or Los Angeles, I think. Whatever. So there is a song after that. Yeah, it's called "Falling Down" on Virtual. No, not Virtual 11. X Factor, on the X Factor with Blaze Bayley.
I know the song. Yes.
Yeah. That's fairly good song.
Blaze.
Poor Blaze.
Trying to replace Bruce Dickinson, even if he were good.
he was not even bad, but I mean, Bruce Dickinson, he's a class of his own.
I read the book by Bruce Dickinson, his second book, What Does This Button Do?
Oh, that's already his second book?
And I believe it is. At least the second book.
Yeah, because he has something about the boat race, something.
Those are novels. I think this is his second autobiography.
Oh.
But he wrote quite a few novels about the Lord Iffy boat race.
Never heard of those. Okay.
They looked very silly.
I can't find them anywhere. So
Bruce Dickinson said in these in this book that someone simply forgot to tell Blaze that it wasn't actually an easy job to do what he did.
Well, yeah.
Which might have been very true. Like, that level of entertainment is. There are some people that are just made for it, and others are not.
Course. I mean, I was supposed to see Iron Maiden back in 1998 in Budapest. They were scheduled in a very small club because there was a last-minute change of plans, and they put them in a club called E Club. I think that was the name back then. A couple of years later, I played there as well, and I mean the max capacity was around 1,500 people max, like really tops. And they sold about 2,000-3,000 tickets for that show with Blaze Bayley. I mean, that for Iron Maiden nowadays, that's just very, very low numbers. And even those people didn't fit in there. So, for example, my brother and me, we went there and we had the ticket, and they said, "No, you can't get in because it's absolutely packed. Sorry."
Did you get a
Yeah, but I mean, that was not the issue. I mean, that should have been our very first heavy metal. I mean, like big heavy metal concert. And I mean, we waited till the end of the show in front of the club, and they just opened afterwards. They opened all gates, and it was so humid that a cloud of mist, a cloud of fog just broke out of the club, and the people, they were all half naked and sweaty, and I mean, it must have been horrible inside there. So I really, it must have been quite interesting experience. Especially 2 years later, I saw them in a Hungarian stadium for 15,000 people or so, and then I saw Dickinson the first time live, and I mean, that was just insane what the guy did. So it's not for everybody, I'm sure.
I saw them live first time at the Roskilde Festival in 2001, and I was working on a volunteer on the light rig, so we put up the lights on the main stage, and then while the show happens, we get to sit in the sound tower, and there's nothing for us to do. We were just enjoying the show from a safe distance and in very good circumstances. And Bruce Dickinson was just going absolutely crazy. And the stage of Roskilde is there's like a bowed tower in the entire front. So he puts his microphone during a long solo into his pocket, just starts climbing up this tower, up to the very middle of it. And there are, 4 cameras directly at him, spotlights and huge screens on the side of the stage. It's an area in front of the stage for, 100,000 people, or maybe around 80,000. It's very, very big. And when he comes up to the middle of this boat tower, he moons and shows his rear end to everybody. And spotlights, cameras, everything close up on the wide screens, on the screens on the side. Climbs down again. Of course, the guys on stage notice nothing. They're busy playing and entertaining the public. He comes down, goes over to Dave Murray, and he whispers, tries to shout something at him, and points at his own ass. Obviously saying, I went up there showing my ass.
Beautiful.
That was nice.
He likes to climb. When I saw him the first time, he climbed up on the side of the stage, like 6 or 7 meters high, and was singing from there. Just holding onto the scaffolding with one arm, and then singing into the microphone, holding it with his other hand. It was impressive.
He's quite hyperactive, and you can't just pull any singer off the street to replace him. Not that Blaze Bayley is any singer off the street, but there are few like Bruce Dickinson.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's a story. It's a story that happened on someone else's tour. It's not my tour story, but it can pass as a tour story, of which we have many.
Yes. Gunnar, do you have one?
No, not for this time.
Last time we were on tour was when?
The last time was 1 year ago. Exactly 1 year ago. We were in Russia and Kyrgyzstan and Japan and Israel.
That one, the flying
Turkey.
Tour, yes. Yeah. Visiting like 3 or 4
not
countries
Russia.
we've never been to before.
Ukraine, then Turkey, then Japan, then Kyrgyzstan. No, the other way around, whatever. And then Denmark, it was quite a crazy tour. Yes,
ended in Denmark. Yes, I remember now. That was the played in Roskilde. Actually, in a small venue there called.
Yes.
Called something.
It had a name. It definitely had a name. That venue.
I remember that.
Yeah,
that was a nice tour.
It actually was the first concert my daughters were attending.
Right. Yes, they were there. They were standing upstairs.
Yeah.
Looking down from there. Yeah.
That was quite cool.
Yes.
So.
Ate all my candy in the backstage.
Of course.
Good. Spare me.
But actually, I have a tour story from.
You said but.
Well.
Is this story from that tour?
This tour story out of my butt. No, out of my bag, of course. No, this tour story is from our European tour. It was maybe in the same year, in April, I think, with Heidefolk, I think. Yes, it was with Heidefolk. Yeah. And we were in Slovakia. Yes, and I can remember. I mean, the venue was fine. The stage was kind of small but very deep. You know, I mean, you could walk a longer way back than from one side to the other. So it was like.
Do you remember the name of the venue?
No idea.
Or the city?
Banska Bystrica, Besterce Banja, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the.
And there was, of course, the backstage was one smaller room for all the bands next to the stage, and I wanted to work a bit before a show, and I pulled out my laptop and wanted to put the cable into the power socket, and I felt something just next to the canopy, next to the power socket, and I pulled out my hand, and there was some kind of fluid on it, and I smelled it, and it was rancid urine. So somebody, and I looked next to the wall, and there was a beer glass full of rancid piss. I'm sorry, but I mean, it was just, so somebody before us, playing there 1 or 2 weeks before us, peed into a glass and just right before they went on stage, and left it there for us or for anybody to encounter it. So that was that. Just to quote one of our favorite movies. That smell would have gagged the maggot.
Yeah.
And I was running outside gagging for sure.
This of course, that it was left there so long is not common, but going number one into a beer plastic glass is very common,
of course,
in this line of work, because there isn't. You have 30 seconds till you go on stage, and suddenly you have to go. And what do you do? There's no toilet close to you, and I don't think I've ever done it myself, but I've seen many
quite a
musicians.
We've all seen
do it.
People doing that.
So of course it should be cleared up, but leaving that for people to clean up is also not the nicest thing to do. You should take it out yourself after, if you can. At least pour it into the toilet or whatever.
Well, by some rock and rollers, that's considered not cool.
Yeah, that was not cool.
Exactly.
That was
exactly
completely uncool, man. Oh yeah.
Anyway, we have quite a few questions and comments to answer this time. Let's try and make it before the 45-minute mark. The first one I want to mention is just a comment. It was from there are two guys made the same comment. I'm not sure who is first. There's Franco Trani and David DeRussell. They suggested on YouTube that we call this the Týrcast. And I want to thank them, Franco and David. And I think we will go with that. We will call this the Týrcast starting next season in January. It's a much shorter name. And this came from I put up a comment on YouTube community asking what this is really. It's not a podcast really, because podcast includes usually only audio. This has video too. Is it a vidcast? Is it a vlog, like a video blog?
It's a plodcast.
Plugcast.
Vlog? No, it's a Russian for a vlogcast. It's a video, and yeah, you know.
You have vodka and you make a vidcast. So we're going to call this the Týrcast and not really care about how other people define it. Starting next season. Roman asks on Patreon, and I have abbreviated these questions because they were very long. Did you ever meet Iron Maiden? Which guitarist from Maiden would you pick for recording a tour song or a show? Have you gentlemen ever met Iron Maiden?
I only met Blaze Bayley. Well, that was already after he left. He was made redundant in Iron Maiden. Years later, we were playing at the same festival. He was a nice guy, so we chatted for like 30 seconds. So that's all. Mm-hmm. I've been to 3 or 4 Iron Maiden concerts, but I never met the guys. Well, the gentlemen. I'm sorry, Gunnar.
Yeah, I met them at Hellfest, Copenhagen. Yeah, we were sharing. Everybody was sharing at the same aisle. We were sharing the same backstage. And amazingly enough, Iron Maiden did have the backstage there as well, which I was quite surprised about. I thought they probably would have it somewhere else. So they were there, and as you know, the Steve Harris that's my one and only. Steve Harris and Nico, and I was standing right beside Steve Harris. I did not even dare to say hello to him. I just thought, oh man, this guy must have this going on every day in his life. I will not bother him or anything. and I kind of regret it today. I don't know why.
I'm sure he was thinking, damn, that's the bass guitarist of Tour, isn't it? Fuck.
Oh yeah.
Why is he not coming over here? Damn, dude, that's rude. That's just rude, man. I mean, I'm standing right here.
No, so that was very exciting, and I saw all the other guys come in later on. So
nice.
Then
I was I met them at the earlier mentioned show at Roskilde in 2001. And everybody shares the same backstage area. Of course, they have their own backstage rooms, but there's the catering area. Absolutely amazing catering for bands, crew, and local crew. So I was very, very nervous to talk to them. So I asked one of their touring crew, "Is it okay to go talk to them?" And they said, "Yeah, fine. Just wait till they're done eating, and then talk to them all you like." So I waited till they were done eating, and I had the Brave New World album, which, by the way, is based on a book.
Of course.
Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. So I had a pen, and I went over to Bruce Dickinson first, asked him for an autograph. And he seemed... I was extremely starstruck. I couldn't make a sentence. I couldn't talk to them at all. And then I go over to the other guys. They were all, except Adrian Smith, standing by their backstage room. And they all signed this, and they were trying to strike up a conversation, be funny. I just couldn't. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't say anything. I was absolutely dumbfounded by starstruckedness. So I really wanted to talk to them. I just couldn't, and which is strange. I don't usually get that starstruck, but with Iron Maiden, it was just
20
off the
years
scale.
When 2001, yeah, okay.
2001, 19 years ago, yeah. Yeah, 19 and a half years ago. Then Adrian Smith has no guitar tech. He does his own guitar teching. So he was on stage. So I walk to the stage and wait for him there. And on top of his amplifier, he has this tray it's just covered in plectrums with his signature and the Iron Maiden logo on it. I stole a few,
Sneaky bastard.
put them in my pocket, and I still have them. And I'm very sorry. I'm not proud of that, but I did that. And then when he comes on stage, I go over to him and get an autograph from him. So. That was very exciting, and now we're not very famous yet, but every now and then we meet people who get starstruck by us, and I can't understand it. It's very hard to see it from the other side. But when I met Iron Maiden, I got as starstruck as anyone could be from anything.
That's the weird thing. Say when people meet us, and you can see they are starstruck, and you just got to think, why?
Well, yes, why? We were once playing in Baltimore on the East Coast in the U.S. and I was sitting downstairs working on my computer, and a couple comes in, an American guy with an Asian woman. She didn't speak perfect American or English, so she was from somewhere in Asia, obviously. And they just asked me, "Do you know when the show starts?" And I said, "Yeah, it starts and whenever it started." And then suddenly the lady says to the gentleman, "Do you see who it is?" And she started shaking and crying, and she could hardly stand. And I go over to say hello to them and talk to them. And she wanted a picture, and the guy wanted the picture too. He was much more relaxed, but she could hardly stand. You know, she was shaking. Her knees were falling from under her, and you just have to. I just have to think about when I met Steve Harris to understand that. I can't really put myself easily on the other side of that. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Enough about that. If I had to pick a guitar player from Iron Maiden for anything, I would take Adrian Smith. I think I like Dave Murray. I never liked Janet Gers much, although he's not bad. But for my style, Adrian Smith has always been the best.
That goes for the same for me. I'm a big Adrian Smith fan. So
for me as well. Especially when, if I remember correctly, he joined Dickinson in his solo career as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. First Dickinson had Janet Gers, and then they got Adrian Smith as well. That was
Janet Gers he played on the Ian Gillan band, and he's awesome in that band.
He's not bad at all, and he's one of those extremely entertaining people on stage, a bit like Bruce Dickinson. So and you can't say that Adrian Smith is, or Dave Murray for that matter.
But Janet Gers always has his poker face. He's like doing all kinds of funny stuff and like,
but he's like rolling around on stage, setting his guitar around his back and
very entertaining.
But the reason for choosing or that I like Adrian Smith is there's something very melodic about the guy. So everything he does, it just goes straight to your heart. So
it does. I was just the other day listening to Somewhere in Time when I was jogging, and the solo in the song "Stranger in a Strange Land," the combined bass and guitar solo. My God, it's beautiful. Amazing. It's just so well made. It's like heavy metal.
That is a fantastic album, all the way through.
It's like that level of songwriting.
That kind of image. If you talk about Tolkien and all that, but that kind, what they are kind of, the whole atmosphere of that album. That's what I like in music. Yeah,
well, that's incidentally also based on a movie and a story. I think Philip K. Dick, Blade Runner. Anyway. Roman asks further on Patreon, do you have any tips on searching for band members? So I believe this Roman has an incomplete band he wants to fill up with members.
No.
That's a difficult one. That's really difficult. The first thing that I think about is when we were younger, you don't have any or very many responsibilities. So joining a band is nothing. You join a band if you like. You don't if you don't. But once you advance a bit in your age, finding band members that have the time and the ambition to be in a band is more and more difficult. Like putting the band together when we started was just do it, and there it is. As you advance, finding band members is a much more complicated process, and you just have to find band members who have similar ambitions.
It all depends on what you're looking for, but the thing in a band would probably be that a guy who fits into the band, and that's very hard to find.
Exactly.
You have to have sort of the same, as you said, same ambitions and views and where the band is heading and so forth, and that is almost impossible.
And also, I mean, it's not enough if you find a great musician. I mean, the guy or even the girl has to fit in. I mean, the social skills must be there as well. I mean, this is especially
or lack thereov.
Exactly. Yes. But I mean, if you're touring for weeks or maybe even months in a small tour bus, and you spend 23 hours of the day each day together, then you have to you have to be able to work in a small group. Within a small group, you have to know your place, and you have to fit in, and you have to work together as a team member, as a band member. It's not about you, it's about the whole of the band. And that is very rare as well, I think. I'm still
very hard to find.
I'm still amazed how well we connected.
Yeah.
Yes. We're surprisingly well connected for guys who didn't make the first band together, and we're right now searching for a guitar player. And the way we did it was just look at who's available. As soon as it was clear that we had an available spot, a few guys wrote to us, and I wrote to a few guys, and there are some options, like 5, 6, 7 options, and you take a look at them and talk to a few of them. And decide to try one. And in the end, I think there's nothing to do except just try it out, because you can talk and you can listen to stuff they played or recorded, wrote. You just have to try it and see if it works. Then you decide after that.
Yeah,
because there's no substitute for the real thing.
Take the person on a small tour, if possible, and see if it works out.
Yeah. Exactly.
And as for searching, also. I mean, you use Facebook or whatever, because I guess that's a good media for searching.
Yeah.
Just say you're searching for a guitarist, drummer, whatever you
and
need.
See which offers you get.
I'm sure you'll get some response.
Yeah.
So.
Last question from Roman on Patreon. Do you use any formula when putting together a set list for a show? That's very simple. You have a specific amount of time over which you cannot go, and I made a group for fans of Týr. It's called the Great Heathen Army of Týr, and we have about 3,000 members. And I simply asked people to vote for which songs they'd like to hear us play live, and I have a top 20 from that. We never get to 20 songs, but somewhere between 10 and 20 songs, and you just take the most popular songs out of that list. Now, you could use something like Spotify statistics, Apple Music statistics, but those are off for some strange reason that I'm not entirely sure why, because they don't agree with each other, and there's in between us and those numbers are the algorithm of Spotify, and then the promotion apparatus of the record label. So the numbers that I get on Facebook, on the Facebook group, great heathen army of Týr, which you should join, by the way, I tend to trust more. So that's how we do it. Very simple. Unless you have more to add to that, I shall go on to the next question. A lady called Olaf Herdadottir, sounds Icelandic, asks on Patreon, and I've abbreviated this, it was quite a long question as well. How is Duolingo going for you guys?
Good. I'm back.
What's your streak
almost
at?
2 weeks, I think. I mean, I started it when you came up with the challenge. I'm back on the Norwegian train. I mean, I used to learn French. I mean, I understand and know more French than I do Nordic languages. But because since sooner or later I am going to learn Faroese, I thought since there is no Icelandic right now on Duolingo, I'm going to do Norwegian. I learned. I went even to a Danish course 1 or 2 years ago, but I have to say I just don't like Danish. I don't like the sound of it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But
most people
Norwegian,
say that.
It pleases my ears more.
Most people say that.
I haven't even glimpsed at that shit. So.
Which language were you on?
Russian and Spanish, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Since I issued the challenge in the last, it was podcast 5, I believe. I got back to Czech, and I have a 14-day streak now, and I do minimum 50 XPs per day. So I can't communicate properly in Czech yet. I have to learn much more vocabulary and some grammar, but with the consistent Duolingo effort, I can clearly see progress. I mean, you learn a few words every day, you learn a few pronunciations and conjugations every day. So I would say it's going well as it possibly could. The trick is to keep a day streak for an extended period of time. Once we were on tour, I had an 80-day streak, which I ended after the tour ended. You have a lot of time, and you can encourage each other while you're on tour, which is very good. So keeping the streak on tour is much more easy, I find, that than when you're at home. Olaf has a question for you, Thaddeus. Do you understand or know what the ballads are about? Even knowing Faroese, which is not my first language, Kveir can be really hard to understand.
Since I mean, my Faroese vocabulary is extremely limited, since I only know a few words, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. So, no, I would not be able to read the Kveir. But I mean, I talked with you guys about some of the lyrics and some of the legends behind those, and I think I know quite some of them, not by heart, but I know what they're about. Sooner or later, maybe I'll get to the point where I'll be able to read them as well in Faroese, but I have to work for that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's quite archaic language. Even for Faroese people, you kind of have to know how they talk and how the language is put together to understand it. So we have quite a few more questions, but we have to take them in the next roundup episode, because we're not going to make it this time. We're already at 45 minutes, and if we go much longer, my computer will crash while I'm editing this. So, do you have a challenge for us, Steph, until the next episode?
Yes, I actually have a challenge. How about we are going to
Let's hear it.
Agree on one song we never played live so far, a Týr song, of course, and we are going to learn, or well, you guys are going to relearn that song, and we are putting together a cover video version of that song. Yeah, playthrough, right.
Like a playthrough. Sure. So, do you have a song in mind?
No, not exactly. Gunnar, what song would you like to play?
Oof. I don't know, because there's a lot to pick from. There's quite
Something
a lot
we
of
never
songs
played live.
we did not play live.
Maybe
So-
Valkyria?
There are.
No.
Oh, you did?
We played it live. Yeah.
Well, there is one.
We could do that one. Yeah.
From Ragnarok album. What's called Hell something.
Hell's Bells.
Yeah,
Hell
what's
is from
it called?
here to eternity.
No, it's come on.
Hellion.
It's on the Ragnarok.
I don't know.
The right to hell.
The right to hell. Didn't
No,
we play
we
that?
never played
But
that
we could do
one
that. We could do
live.
that.
Right
Okay.
to Hell.
Let's
Okay.
do the right to hell.
Okay, Ragnarok Right to Hell.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll check.
But that one, I don't even have the notes for that one or anything.
Let me try and dig it out, and we'll see if we can do it. Okay,
right.
we have 2 weeks for
Isn't
that.
it called the right hand? Down, down, da 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 down, down, da 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 da. Isn't that? Yeah. That's one. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. The,
Yeah,
there's the intro,
exactly,
the burning, and then
Okay,
the
let's
right
do
to
that.
hell, the
Let's
song.
do that.
Yes, sure. Cool. All right. So I would like to ask everyone who's watching this to please come to our shows once we go on tour again. And you can follow us on Instagram, where we are Týr_official. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where we are Týrband. Please track us on bandsintown.com/Týr, or is it Týrband? I forget right now. There will be a direct link in the links below this video, whatever you call it. Listen to our music right here on YouTube if you can, or on whichever platform you listen to your music. And visit our website, Týr.fo. And there you can get some merch, or you can sign up for our newsletter at the bottom of the front page. And last thing I want to mention is, again, patreon.com/Týrband. See you in 2 weeks. No, first see you on the 31st of December, and then in 2 weeks after this.
Bye.
Boy.
Bye.
Sickle.